let's check out this survey. So, as a backdrop, when they announced the survey, we looked at it, and I wasn't super enthusiastic about it, to say the least. I was pretty fed up with the whole "we're not going to fix bug" things. And I just wanted to fix it, basically. And I didn't like how the way some of the stuff was worded, and I also had some errors with like how they had it organized, which they did fix promptly, but then, you know, it said something different in the video. Anyway, I haven't looked at this yet. It just came out. They already have agreed that they should be fixing bugs. So I'm not nearly as upset now. In fact, I'm not really upset at all anymore. I'm glad that we've made that change. But let's see what the balance survey recap actually gives us here. Hello, travelers. In between attempting to save the citizens of Atera and eradicating them, almost 70,000 of you have joined in with your voices to discuss mid-cycle balance changes. 70,000 is really good. The turnout for this survey has been fantastic, and further is in addition to the many discussions here on the forums and other platforms on the topic. We want to first thank you all for your enthusiasm on this topic driving it forward. Today we want to share the result of the survey as well as the decisions which have come as a result of the feedback. All right. 74.3% want OP skills and items fixed. That's not even bugs. That's just like OP skills and items, they're saying. 86.5% want to be notified prior to nerfing OP builds. That's fair. That's fair. 71.9% disagree with nerfing skills or items that are OP if it's not due to a bug. That is... Why is that worded that way? What? So they do, but they don't if it's not a bug. Only if it's a bug, but... Disagree with OP... What? What are they are they disagreeing? There's a bug in the survey, like. So they're agreeing that but they're disagreeing. What? All right, I'm gonna try to interpret this the best I can. They want OP skills and items fixed, but only if they are bugs, and they don't want them fixed if they are not bugs. I think that's what it means. They screw up the graphics? Yeah, I think that's what it means. Fucking the graphic. Let's see if they explain down here. For the purpose of reading the below results, the following information can help. Scale, 1 was strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. That was true after the first 10 to 15 minutes it was out. As they say here, as we first started the survey, the scale was in reverse. Received immediate feedback about this. Yep. And swamped it before too many results came in. While the results below do not reflect this change, we made this change very early in the survey, so it had minimal impact on results. Okay. We don't know that, but let's assume it's probably true. Overperforming bugs. During a cycle, would you like us to fix bugs that cause skills or items to highly overperform? Basically, over 70% said 4 or 5. And then another 8.4 said basically, I don't care either way. It was so close. Yeah, right? It's pretty obvious that not fixing bugs is not very popular. Only 10% were strongly against it, and their 2% were like 2. Another 7%. So like less than 20% of the 70,000 wanted them to keep the bugs. Which, shocking, I know. Shocking, guys. And I did not see that coming. With over 74% of all votes in the survey crushing the other options, as well as in written feedback, the stance from the involved community is fairly clear. We should be fixing bugs which cause skills or items to highly overperform, and as such, we'll be doing so. This is a change from our previous stance, where we didn't want to alter balance mid-cycle. Now, if it's the case of a bug, we'll be pushing out these fixes in mid-cycle patches. That's great. That's great news. You wonder if those 17% play those builds? I wonder. 10% didn't understand the question. I wonder if they were playing those builds. And knew it was bugged. Okay, mildly overperforming bugs. During a cycle, would you like us to fix bugs that cause skills or items to mildly overperform? This is still slightly yes. Let's see, we got about 28, 38. Almost half say yes. About 20% don't care. And then you've got like 32 or something, 33% that say no. A bug is a fix the bugs. Yeah, I think for this case is like if it's mildly overperforming, it's not affecting nearly as much, so people don't care as much, which makes sense. In the case of a bug resulting in a build skill item mildly overperforming, there's a much less clear stance. From written feedback, it's a bit clear as to why. What is mildly overperforming? Yeah, being a bit of a vague categorization left up to an individual's interpretation. Absolutely, and I'm glad they pointed this out. Like, it was really good of them to point out that this was a problem with the way that survey was written. Saying mildly overperform is very ambiguous. It doesn't tell you much about what that actually is even means. Is it, and also, is it the skill is overperforming what it would, or is it overperforming versus like the average skill? It was a really difficult question to interpret, and so it would have had many different interpretations by many different people. Decided in this case to use case-by-case discretion. This would be based on feedback we're seeing in the community and just how far the bug results in a power shift. I think that's good. So we may choose to or not to fix bugs which are mildly overperforming mid-cycle, and we'll discuss them as they arise. I think that's good. I think that's probably the correct approach. Not like this doesn't have to be set in stone. Like every single bug must be fixed. If the bug isn't having much impact on the game overall, or it's making something fun that otherwise would not be any good at all, making it fun and enjoyable, and it's not like killing the leaderboards or making other builds feel irrelevant, then you don't really need to worry about it. In fact, you might want to figure out a way to incorporate the power of that bug into the actual build. If it trivializes the game, fix it. That's about it. Basically, yeah. Overperforming balance. Okay. During a cycle, would you like us to nerf skills or items that are highly overperforming even if it's not caused by a bug? So this one went significantly different, right? 34, 19.8 are in the 1 and 2, which are like, don't do this. And then 14.6 and 17.2 are in the 4 and 5. So that's to do this. So clearly, more people don't want them to fix it than do. I think there's some issues with this question. I think there's some inherent belief that you wouldn't make a build overperform without a bug to the extent that some of these bug builds would. And so as long as that's true, I think it's probably fine. But if they were ever to somehow manage to completely throw off balance with something that was intended as far as mechanically, but power-wise not intended, I think this would be challenged by the community. Like they would challenge whether or not that's what they meant. So we'll see what that does, or how that plays out. On the other hand, if a build's overperforming but not caused by a bug, the feedback is largely weighted towards do not change. Well, not quite as one-sided as with bugs. This is still a fairly strong sentiment from the community, with over 57% voting not to make these changes. Also matches our existing stance as well in not taking too many steps to alter balance mid-cycle, such as we'll be avoiding balance changes which are not bug-related, even if it's resulting in a build skill or item highly overperforming. So I think this is the wrong approach. I think they're getting the wrong information out of this. This is where I think the survey failed them, because I do think this is such a loaded question that people are assuming that highly overperforming doesn't mean profane veil levels. Like they're not thinking profane veil levels of overperforming. But if a thing performed at that extent, people be like, it's gotta be a bug, right? It's gotta be a bug. And they're like, no, it's not actually a bug. And they're gonna be like, oh, you know what? Oh, it's fine then. I thought it was a bug, so it was bad, but it's not. So it's okay that like the top 30 builds are all using this bug and that no one else can. Like no one's gonna feel that way. So I think this is an issue with the survey, and it kind of leading into my concerns with the survey in general. I'm glad they got the overarching thing right, but again, every time they release a survey, I'll be concerned because of the way that they word them. They don't word them very particular. They don't word them particularly well, and it's hard to word a survey well. It takes skill to do that. It takes experience and training, and they don't have it. Most people don't. Profane Veil was a bug, though, you thought? It was, but what if it wasn't a bug? What if it was just, whoopsie, we made it that much more powerful. We made it 10 times more powerful than anything else. I think the average person would think that it can't happen, but I can tell you it can happen. And it can happen in this game. Mildly overperforming balance. This is going to be an obvious one. During a cycle, would you like us to nerf skills or items that are mildly overperforming, even if it's not caused by a bug? Almost no one's going to care that much about a mildly overperforming thing. Smoke bomb, for example, is not a bug. It was an oversight that crashed servers. Well, they're calling it a bug and they fixed it as if it were a bug. It was reported as a bug. That's definitely a weird ambiguous one though. Is it really a bug? Because it kind of worked as intended, but it was unintended how that ended up playing out. As one might expect, as the power from something not bug related becomes less impactful, the desire is even less for changes to be seen to them. Yeah, this is obvious. If you didn't want them to do the heavily overperforming stuff, you definitely don't want them to do the mildly overperforming stuff. Yeah, that's like a kind of a nothing burger. Mid-cycle leaderboard reset. This one's an interesting one. During a cycle, a full reset to leaderboards should be done when builds or items are nerfed that are highly performing as a result of a bug fix or balance change. I'm surprised 30% said yes to this. In the event that we release a change or bug fix which is resulting in item skill or build overperform, the desire for leaderboards to reset has been quite mixed. Discussed with this a fair amount and have made the following determination. We will not reset leaderboards in this instance. However, we will instead add information to the entry to indicate when the entry occurred. The goal of this being to make the information available to identify entries which may have used a bug that has since changed. What? Cite against a marker icon on the entry indicating it was an overperforming build, as we didn't want these to appear as a mark of shame. This is the best way to be able to allow competitive players to continue competing on leaderboards without taking away other players' previous... I don't understand. They're going to... What? Add information to the entry? What entry? How is this going to help people differentiate? They're going to timestamp your run with a date. And so then it's up to people to combine like the date of when they did that with the date that the bug went out to figure out whether or not it might have been bugged, and then to like try to filter through all that stuff to figure out who they think really won. Gonna put an asterisk on it and say it was OP. They said they weren't gonna do that. Like they're not gonna do the icon thing. They're not gonna do the mark of shame. So I don't understand. Leaderboard entry, so it says like patch 1.0, so you know they could be bug abusing. I guess we'll have to see it. They didn't show it in here, did they? No, they don't show it. We'll have to see what it looks like. I don't know if that's the way I would go with it. I also don't agree with the mid-cycle leaderboard reset either, because I don't think players who were not playing bug builds should be punished. I think it should be the builds that were clearly using it because they're performing in a ways that they couldn't without it. Those ones just get removed from leaderboard. Partial leaderboard reset. The above answer also addresses the question. For consistency, we want to show the results of all your votes here. No, it doesn't. No, it's not. You're not addressing this. This is pretty clearly pro partial leaderboard reset. And they're just acting like it doesn't mean anything. This is very clearly pro. Like, look, only 24% of people didn't think you should do it. It's just less than those that strongly said yes. It's only 33? That isn't very clearly? You're trying to interpret this in a way that makes it work out for them, aren't you? Because it's over 40% that say yes, and then 26% could go either way, and then a small group that say no. And they're just like acting like it barely didn't happen. With like some BS about like marking things that I don't even think are going to make any difference on how people see it. Like, this is a fail. Like, this is not interpreting the results and doing anything about it the way that they did with the other ones. You take the 4 and 5, it's 50, so that's a mixed result. That's how that works. Okay. This one, you can't get this one wrong, right? Well, yes. No, that's not how that works. Survey shows that there are a lot of fence sitters. Only 50% were to do it. And how many were to not do it? That's how you interpret it properly. If this part don't care, then this is the part that matters. These ones here and these ones here. That's how you properly interpret these results. Okay, notification via public post. During a cycle, I want to be notified via public forum post in advance when a bug fix or balance change will end up nerfing a highly overperforming build. 73.2% said yes 5. 13.3 said yes 4. 4.2% said no. And 1.3% said no, but not that strongly. Yeah, I mean, they're going to do some notifications, right? To everyone's surprise, it looks like almost everyone agrees that receiving notification about upcoming balance altering bug fix or change is a very strong desire. As we've been showing this last week since we started getting feedback in the survey, we fully agree with this and we'll start trying to provide more heads up. These changes are coming. This is good. Though with this, we will still reserve the right to not provide information regarding the upcoming change if doing so would result in players rushing to take advantage, causing severe issues, or we could release the fix almost as fast as releasing the notification that the fix is coming. That last part of the statement sounds like exactly what the community asked them not to do. Too much bright white, can't see purple bars. It's pretty unclear, yeah. You said no, you want to see tears. That last part of the statement is what they said not to do. They said no, notify us first. They're like, well, if we can do it fast, we just won't notify you. It's like, I mean, I don't care because I don't play bug stuff anyway. It's not going to affect me, but clearly players wanted to be notified ahead of time. And they're just like, well, we'll just fix it real fast. Now, the scenario here might be something along those lines. Where people a bug if it isn't well known. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Tested. It might be something along the lines of, we found the bug really fast. Most of the community has no idea. It hasn't caught on yet. It's not in the meta. We can fix it before it gets there. And in that case, I generally agree with them. That just get done. Like one of those bug fixes and partial reset. We got half of that. That's good. For these changes, if we feel we can release the information in full about the change, we'll do so. Otherwise, we may try to be more vague, such as with the Infernal Shade Infinite Damage bug, to limit its impact before the changes, or we may withhold it completely if it's something which is regularly crashing servers when it's utilized to minimize its impact until we get it fixed. That makes sense. In conclusion, this round of discourse with the community has resulted in some great changes to our stances that we're quite happy with. The two big changes here are, we will release fixes mid-cycle for bugs, which results in an item, skill, or build highly overperforming. We will add leaderboard functionality displaying which specific patch or time span an entry happened during. I don't think that the second one's a big change. I'll have to see it in practice. I don't. I think the big change here, I guess it wasn't a change. They were already notifying us, so it's not a change. But I guess affirming that is good. Once again, we'd like to thank everyone for your involvement in LE, taking the time, all the feedback, continue to work with the community. Okay, so let's recap. This is weird, but it's okay. We figured it out later. It's not a great graphic. Overperforming Bugs, easy win. Easy dub. They got the easy dub on this. Good. This is definitely exactly what they should have been doing. Mildly overperforming, case by case. This is actually, I consider this a dub. That's how you should handle this too. If it's not having much effect, why bother? Especially if it's actually making something more fun and it's not causing it to break the meta or anything like that. But there might be cases where mildly overperforming actually still means breaking meta, and then you should probably fix it. Overperforming Balance. I don't think this is necessarily a dub. I think this one should have been treated the same way as this. Like, this one should have been treated more like this. But I mean, the way that they gathered the information, this is why they got this result, because I think it's misleading. I don't think it's intentionally misleading. I don't think they did it on purpose. I just don't think this is worded super well. And so they got a result that I think is actually going to come back to bite them at some point, because they're going to get a strongly overperforming thing that's wrecking the meta, and they're going to be like, well, it's not a bug, so we can't fix it, and they're going to get the pitchforks out. Pitchforks are going to come out for that. So I think they should have been more nuanced on this, but that's a problem for later. We're still better off than we were. Mildly overperforming doesn't matter, because like if you're not going to fix this, you're not going to fix that. And this one will never really matter that much anyway, because it won't break the meta, you'd imagine. Midcycle leaderboard reset. Not really, I was really thinking they should do anyway. The partial leaderboard, I think this is a big loss. I think they're going to take a big L on this one. Well, maybe not a big L because it's leaderboard and most people don't care. But for those who do care, this is a pretty big L, I think. You're still going to have those entries on there, which is going to have the weird effect of, unless like it's like flashing red lights and shit saying, hey, this is like this era of the cycle was really wonky. So like you can filter all of that out, and maybe even have that by default. Like unless they're gonna do that, I think this is like compromises leaderboards maybe even further because it tells players who find bugs to get their shit in fast. Like get those runs in. Get those runs in because they're not going to take it down, but they are going to take down the bug. So get your runs in as quick as you can. That's what I think is going to happen with that. Notifications via public post is good. That's a W, but they're already doing that, so that's good. So like overall, this is positive. This is good movement. I think there was a couple of things they took away from it they shouldn't have, but what they did take away was really good, and we're in a better state because of it. Thank God they're actually going to fix bugs mid-cycle. I can't believe we were at the point where we had to have this whole conversation, but we did, and we've had it now, and it's working out better, so that's good. So overall, this is good stuff. I still have a lot of issues with the surveys and the way that they write them, and I think they need to really seriously reevaluate that over time. But this is a positive position to be in compared to where we're at before. So good stuff. Thanks, THG, for listening to the community.